Hello everyone. I'm in the same room but a different position. Wanted to sit on the couch today because we're just chatting. We're gonna chat about drugstore makeup brands. I saw a video that inspired this one. This is like the same thing, but just all drugstore. I saw Emily Noel do, what did she actually call it? It was like, which brand does it best? Something like that. I will link it below. She just put it up a few weeks ago. It was so fun to watch the first few minutes. And then when I realized I want to do this, I had to pause it because I was like, I don't want to be too swayed by what she says because I do trust her opinion and agree with her on a lot of things. So anyway, I need to actually finish watching her video, but I love the idea. And so that's what we're gonna do, but we're just gonna do all drugstore brands. So I spent a little while this morning kind of sitting down, brainstorming and looking at makeup and thinking like, okay, what drugstore brands make the best foundations? Not like one foundation, but like they are generally good at foundations. Or what brands do I generally like a lot of the mascaras they come out with? So that's what we're gonna do. We're also gonna talk about just some other brands I feel like at the drugstore that need help. So we'll get into that at the end. That's just like a fun addendum to this because I love chatting about it. I think it's just so interesting to talk about brands and their kind of personas. Side note, if you're interested in this topic, Kelly Gooch has been doing these like history of brands. I don't know that she's calling them history, I don't know. But she's done one on Too Faced, she's done one on Urban Decay, and they have been some of the most interesting content I've ever watched on YouTube. So definitely check out her channel and those videos I can also link below. Okay, I'm drinking tea today and I'm drinking one of my favorites, which is Tazo Zen tea. It's like a green tea, has a little bit of caffeine, not too much, just a little bit. But it's just such a calming, like Zen for the name is perfect. And I feel like in the afternoon, it's like 2:30 right now. It's the perfect thing to be drinking right now. So cheers. So let's start with primers. I think the drugstore brand that does primers the best is Milani. I was gonna skip the primer category because I don't use a ton, but then I opened my drawer when I was getting ready earlier and I was like, oh my gosh, Milani lately has been churning out some really good primers. So here are three right here I use all of the time. So the SPF BFF you see me use a lot. This is an SPF 30 primer, so I'll use it as my daily sunscreen. And then today I use the Milani Supercharged, it's their Dewy Primer. I really like it. I mean, I've obviously got highlighter on, but it definitely is dewy. So if you pair this with another like dewy foundation, you're gonna need to powder your face even if you have dry skin because it can, I don't think this alone is too much, but just be aware, but it is nice and pretty and glowy. And then another favorite is the Milani No Pore Zone. It really like blurs the pores. I feel like it holds on to makeup well. So these have been three I've really been enjoying in the past year, but I just feel like generally Milani makes good primers. And I feel like some of these are repackagements, that's not a word. Well, I know that they are. This one even says, new look, same great formula. And same with the SPF BFF. This used to be their Prime and Protect. So they've been churning these good primers out for a while, so they get my vote. And another thing, and I heard Emily say this in her video too, you know, there are so many products. Like as I was trying to whittle every category down to one brand, I was laughing because I was like, it's so hard because I have such favorites from other brands that I'm just not gonna mention. And I mean, you guys know that, but I felt like it does need to be said because this was hard. Like take a minute, pause the video, think through your own list. Like who do you think, because it's harder than you think. I'm gonna say this because I know some of you guys do this because I did it all the time before I had YouTube videos or like before I made them. I will bet some of you guys will grab some tea and tonight you're gonna go look at your makeup collection and you are gonna sit there and play this game on your own. And it is fun, so I hope that you do. Okay, foundation was the next category. Okay, this was hard. I'm going with Wet n Wild because there are two foundations I really, really like from that brand. And I just feel like anytime they launch something new in the like foundation-ish realm, I get excited and I tend to like it. So their Dewy Foundation is one of my all-time favorites. It's not overly dewy, it's easy to blend in. I really, really like it. And I even like the paddle applicator that comes with it because I kind of like just painting it on my face. It makes it really nice and easy and then my fingers don't get dirty. And then the tinted hydrator is what kind of set me over the edge because that is one of my favorite tinted moisturizers. Again, it's got like light to medium coverage, but it blends in fast, just like the Dewy Foundation does. And it's just pretty. It's just a really pretty, it doesn't feel like a super inexpensive tinted hydrator. Like it feels like a nice one. So that's where my vote went with that. And that was really hard because I'm like, well, there's the Maybelline Fit Me foundation I like. There's the L'Oreal Age Perfect that I like. But again, I felt like in general as a brand, Wet n Wild's foundations are generally pretty good. Concealer, I'm going with Makeup Revolution. And this is not always a brand in my head. Like when I think about drugstore, I think about, okay, yeah, Maybelline, CoverGirl, Revlon, L'Oreal, you know, all of those classic big name brands that have been here in the States forever. But, you know, with the reality of the internet and with like Ulta carrying different brands and now like Target carrying more brands, all of these other brands like Makeup Revolution, Catrice, although Catrice is no longer in Ulta, but they kind of creep their way in and they have really good products and they are drugstore brands. So Makeup Revolution, they have some good concealers. So one of them that I've really been loving lately is their Eye Bright Illuminating Concealer. It's just good. This is like an everyday concealer. It's got the little, I don't have a place for my tea, so I just keep having to set it down. Anyway, it's got the sponge tip applicator. It is quick to blend in. It's really pretty. I feel like I tend to set any concealer I wear, but it just tends to look really pretty throughout the day and wear nicely. And I would say it's like medium coverage. Love this, but they also have come out with their Conceal and Hydrate concealer that I really like. They also have their Conceal and Define concealer that a lot of people love. It's more like mattifying. It's not my favorite, but I know a lot of people love that. So figured that's worth mentioning. They make some darn good concealers. Definitely worth looking into that brand if you've not, especially if you've been looking for a good concealer. And when you're looking at like the spectrum of it, this is definitely lower coverage than like the Conceal and Define and the Conceal and Hydrate concealer. It's a rainy day here too. Actually, I shouldn't even say rainy. I don't have anything on my lips. Oh yes, I do. Going crazy, guys. Well, that's impressive. The lip product I'm wearing, and we'll talk about it more in a bit, is one of the L'Oreal Stains. It literally feels like I'm not wearing anything on my lips. So I was like, oh no. No, I'm definitely wearing something. Anyway, I don't know where my brain is, you guys. Somebody said no. Anyway, it's not a rainy day. It's gonna turn into snow. So it hasn't actually been raining because it's been like flurries. But I think later today, I'm hoping this is like our last snow of the season. We'll see. Y'all, spring starts March 21st. Like, it's around the corner, baby. Powder/powder foundation. I'm just gonna talk about powder foundation because quite honestly, I don't use just like plain old regular powder a lot. I pretty much always opt for powder foundation. My favorite is, I just think L'Oreal does it best. They have their Infallible Fresh Wear. It's in red packaging. That is actually what I'm wearing today. And it really toned down the dewiness I had going on, but it really covers imperfections. Like it just evens the whole thing out. It is amazing. And then my other favorite is in the white packaging, and it is their Age Perfect one. I love the entire L'Oreal Age Perfect line, side note. So if you are looking for like new makeup, look at the Age Perfect line. I love the concealer. I love the foundation. Like it's all so good. Their powder foundation is lovely. That one is definitely in the white packaging, geared towards, well, in theory, more mature skin. I would say it's better for you if you have drier skin. Like I feel like it's less mattifying. And then the one in the red packaging is a little more mattifying. Both beautiful. I love them. I use them both all the time, and they just feel so high end. Like it feels on par with high end ones that I have. So love that. Okay. For brows, I almost cut this category because it was really hard to find like one brand that I felt like in the drugstore specifically that I felt like just absolutely kills the brow game. But what I did end up landing on and why I kept it in is e.l.f. My favorite brow product, the one I'm wearing every single time you see me, is the e.l.f. Wow Brow. It is a super easy little tiny wand pomade. It's not overly pigmented, so I don't feel like it looks overboard too quickly like some do. It's just lovely, y'all. I have bought a lot of those. I talk about it a lot. I know, it's like $4. If you haven't tried it, just try it. But I also really like their new e.l.f. Brow Lift. It's like this clear, I don't even want to call it a gel, but you put it on your brows and you press it down and your brows do not move, but it doesn't look weird on the brow. It's really lovely. They have a really cool tool to go with that you can buy. And then they also have, and they've had for years, their Instant Lift Brow Pencil. And that, it's like $3, $3 or $4. It is a lovely brow pencil. It's one I go back to all the time. Like if I were in a pinch and I quickly needed to grab a brow pencil I knew worked well, that's probably what I would grab. So that's been one that people have loved for so many years, and it's still around and it is still very good. So I just feel like, I feel confident saying I think e.l.f. does brows the best at the drugstore, at least based on the way I do my own brows, you know. All right, bronzer. Physicians Formula. It has to be. It has to be because, okay, to be honest, a little secret here. My favorite bronzer from the drugstore is the L'Oreal Lumi Bronze It. It's a big ol', it is my favorite, okay? So I almost went with L'Oreal just based on that. But then I started thinking about it and I was like, you know, bronzer can encapsulate, you know, powder bronzers, cream bronzers, liquid bronzers. So as I started doing some digging, and I was even doing some online research in this, thinking like, what do like other brands make? Like, am I forgetting about something? Physicians Formula had to be it, because obviously they have their powder bronzers. There's the butter bronzer that is lovely. There's their matte Manoy bronzer I really like, but it has, if the butter bronzer has a strong smell, the matte Manoy bronzer smell is like ×4. Like that is strongest. They have got to offer unscented options. Like it's just too much. But I love the bronzer itself. But then they also have their bronzer stick. It's like from their organic wear line or something like that. And I love that. That is a really good bronzer. The only thing I've noticed with that is if you're not going to use it a lot, I do feel like it starts to turn quicker than maybe other bronzers. And I think it's because it's just so emollient. It's so creamy, but I really think it's pretty, especially if you're someone that's used to using cream bronzers. So that is why I picked their line. And also Physicians Formula just has all of those cute new little launches they're always doing. Like they have all the coffee buddies, whatever the line. I still have not tried that, I know. But they have all of those bronzers, like the donut bronzer, whatever. And then they have this new line of, I guess that's different powders. But anyway, they're always churning out really cool bronzers. So that, it just seemed like it has to be Physicians Formula. It just has to be. And again, they're a brand that like, I would get excited when they launch a new bronzer. I'm like, ooh. And again, I need to just buy one of their new collection bronzers. I just, honestly, just keep forgetting. Blush. So I'm giving this trophy to Milani because they make some of my favorite blushes, both in the powder, cream, and liquid. So this was a pretty obvious choice to me. So I love, and actually I used it yesterday, the Milani Rose Powder blushes. I love that line. I just do. All of these wear really well throughout the day, all of them. But I think it's like the prettiest line ever. And so yeah, that one is a clear winner for me. But they also have their like baked blushes, right? Like Luminosa, that's been around for a long time. And they're still beautiful. So like Luminosa is the one I always gravitate towards, but they have a lot of different ones. Those are so gorgeous on the skin. You don't need a highlighter with them. But then they have their Cheek Kiss cream blushes and their I knew I wouldn't be able to say it, Cheek Kiss liquid blushes that are both amazing. Absolutely amazing, on par with high end. And so the one caution I would give you is the Cheek Kiss Cream Trio they sell, like a little palette. I don't think is the same quality as their single cream shadow or cream blushes, so just be aware of that. But they just kill the blush game. They really do. And of course, Milani across the board, they are definitely a favorite drugstore brand of mine. They really are. They make so much that I tend to really like. So the only thing I can never find in Milani's range, their foundations are always too yellow for me. Like I can never find a shade match. So I've never fallen in love with any of their foundations for that reason. I just cannot get anything close to what I need. So that's something I wish would change, but like their powders and their face products otherwise are amazing. So that brings me to my next one, highlight, also Milani. But I have to say, as I was doing some digging and really thinking about it and looking at my own collection, there are not a lot of drugstore cream and liquid highlight options. Plenty of powder, but I was thinking, yeah, there's plenty, but there really are not. If you start really looking around, there's not. But Milani makes my favorite highlighter, the one I'm wearing today. It's their baked highlighter. Absolutely adore. That is one I reach for all the time. So this is what the baked one looks like. And then they also have their strobe light one that looks like this. That is very similar to this, honestly, but just kicked up a notch. This still, I feel like, has plenty of glow. Absolutely one of my favorites ever. And that's pretty much it. I really could not find like cream and liquid highlighters from brands that I felt were so amazing that they would kick Milani out of the way, you know what I mean? So this was kind of a tricky category, but when it comes to at least powder highlighters, I definitely think Milani is it. Oh, first of all, I'm not gonna do eyeliner. Honestly, first of all, there's 8,000 kinds of eyeliners. I couldn't pick one. I had too many favorites from random brands, but no brand that really stood out as like the one. So we're gonna skip eyeliner, but mascara, it's a tie between Essence and L'Oreal. Essence makes my favorite one. I just repurchased for the umpteenth time. and it is their lash extension one. It's purple with a black lid. I'll link it below so you get like the exact one because they have so many mascaras. That one is my favorite. It never fails. It just never fails. It curls, it holds the curl, it separates, it volumizes, it does everything you want it to do. But I also really, really like their Lash Princess one with the green writing on it. Both of those are amazing. The price point on them is ridiculously low for how good those mascaras are. So, and I feel like there are other Essence mascaras other people like. So just generally, they do mascaras very well. And I think they're very aware of that, because if you look at like an Essence, stand at the store, it's mostly mascara. Like, it's a ton of mascaras. But the other one was L'Oreal, and the ones I was writing down just off the top of my memory, L'Oreal Lash Paradise, one of my favorites. It dries out so fast, it makes me bonkers, but it is so pretty. I really liked their Bambi Eyes mascara. I felt like it really curled and made my lashes look fluttery. Of course, the Voluminous mascara is from them. I have to say though, the one I'm trying right now, I put on this morning, I had to do like 4 coats of, and I'm still not totally in love with it, is the Voluminous Noir Balm. Some of you guys, when I tried this recently, said that it really did take a few weeks of it drying out and then it was really good. So I'm kind of holding out hope for this for that reason. But upon just first opening it, it wasn't bad, but I wasn't like super impressed. But I generally do think L'Oreal makes really good mascaras that I tend to like. I feel like I'm forgetting a really obvious L'Oreal mascara. Oh, they're freaking is it the telescopic? Oh, I think I'm thinking of the Maybelline Lash Discovery. I love that. I keep forgetting about that. Like, if you like to put, I don't have lower mascara on right now, but like if you need something to get tiny baby hairs, that Maybelline Lash Discovery it's not L'Oreal, but Eyeshadow. Wow, there's so many options, but honestly, these two came to me quickly, so this is the other one that's tied. I have it a tie between e.l.f. and ColourPop. ColourPop, pretty obvious. I mean, they may churn out, and it drives me nuts, they may churn out new friggin' collections every 2 seconds, but you know what? Their eyeshadow formula is solid, and it is pretty much consistent across the board. So that, I really appreciate that. At least if they're gonna be churning out 10,000 palettes a day, I was gonna say I'm exaggerating, I'm not sure that I am. But at least if they're gonna do that, you can pretty much assume the quality is gonna be there in any launch that they do. And I think that's pretty cool, and honestly kind of hard to find, because within like the big drugstore brands, I don't think that's true. Like, I don't think the single shadows are the same quality as the quads that are the same quality as the palettes. I feel like it differs so much. But the other brand, of course, e.l.f., I love their bite-sized eyeshadow palettes. I love their, like, the new Classics palette is one of my all-time favorites, and I still use it to this day. And I just feel like you can kind of, again, you can almost rest assured that generally e.l.f.'s eyeshadows are pretty darn good, and that I think is pretty cool too. And I appreciate that e.l.f. doesn't turn out as many collections, so I feel like it's at least slightly more curated. I will say though, and I haven't seen this in recent years, does e.l.f. still do those like holiday kits like they used to, that I feel like the eyeshadow back then was like, those were not as good as like the shadows they're using in their bite-sized quads and stuff like that. But now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember seeing those kinds of kits like I normally did in the past few years during the holidays. I don't know. All right, lipstick, Maybelline. So my favorite drugstore lipstick across the board is the Maybelline Color Sensational line. I love the cream line and like the satin line. They're the creamiest lipsticks. They look beautiful on the skin, or the lips, skin. Sounds gross. I feel like generally they feel on par with high-end lipsticks that are way more expensive. And I just love them. And that's something I feel like I rave about a lot, but I don't hear a lot about. And they're just really good lipsticks, and they have so many different colors to choose from, which is great, because if you need a very specific red or nude or pink or whatever, you can find it in that line for sure. But they also make their Superstay matte inks, and that's what I was thinking I grabbed, and I don't think I have any here, but these are like a wedding lipstick. These are a special event where you can put it on and it is not going to budge, period. So if that is what you're looking for, like a long-term lip stain that's pretty comfy. Honestly, it is really similar to the L'Oreal one I'm wearing. The thing that's interesting about them is that they dry down, but they continue to have this like tacky feeling, which at first glance you'd think like, well, that doesn't sound like a good thing. But it kind of is, because you feel like your lips don't get as dried out as they would with other like liquid lipsticks, and that's why I really like them, and I have multiple shades. So definitely Maybelline for lipsticks. For lip gloss, I'm going with L'Oreal. I'm gonna be honest, there really was not a brand that stood out in the drugstore for just like a gloss formula. Like I really like the Maybelline lifter glosses, that was up there. But L'Oreal has their balm stains that I absolutely love. One of my favorite shades is the shade Be Outstanding. They're a stain for your lips, but they're comfy and kind of glossy. Like it is so unique. And again, the longevity is there and it is totally a dupe for the expensive Lancome L'Absolu lip lacquers. Same thing. But then on top of that, they also have their L'Oreal Balm Glosses. These are new and I just recently tried it and I absolutely am gonna buy a couple more. So this is what it looks like. So similar packaging to like their matte ones, but this is like the comfiest gloss, but I can't explain it, y'all. It is one of those things that you will wear every day. Like if you own one, you'll wear it every day because it is everything you want. I don't know, maybe it's not, but it's everything I want. It's moisturizing, it's comfy, it's got color and makes my lips look like put together. I'm someone that I feel like when I'm not wearing something on my lips, my lip edge can look, jagged's a weird word for it, but like just unfinished. And so I feel like something like this is nice because I can plop it on. It feels so good. And by feels, I mean looks. Also feels good. So now that's everything. I'm sure I missed a category or so in there. But let's just talk about, I was kind of making a list of drugstore brands here and thinking about like the essence of the brand. And I definitely have like a couple of favorite brands here. My favorites would be Milani. There is so much from that line that I love. And when they launch something new, I get excited. And again, they're a more curated brand. So just in general, it's kind of cool to see when they launch something new because I feel like it doesn't happen as often, you know? Wet n Wild, another brand that I generally like a lot from. There are definitely some products in the line that aren't as good, but they have a lot of really good, and their eyeshadows, by the way, are really good too. Essence has some amazing things, and again, I always have my eye out when they launch something new, like their new eyeshadow palettes that I absolutely love that are like 6 pans. They're all so good. That is definitely a brand I enjoy. Maybelline and L'Oreal I really enjoy. Physicians Formula, I always am excited when they launch something new. I like a lot from them. Elf. So the brands that I have some medium feelings towards. ColourPop, I really like their eyeshadows, but anything else they launch, I don't typically care or try. You know what I mean? And it's really not that they aren't good. It's just that, I don't know. I feel like when they launch something new, I'm like, yeah, okay. Because again, it's all the time. So it's not as exciting. And I also, and this might shock some of you guys, one brand that I feel like, if you asked me 6 years ago, one of my favorite drugstore brands would definitely be NYX. Period. But now I feel like I've gotten away from NYX. Like we just have such an estranged relationship and I can't, and now there's so many new things that I haven't tried that I just am like, maybe it's that. We spent too much time away from each other. Now I'm like, I don't even know you anymore. So I need to, and maybe I will. Maybe I should do like full face of NYX Cosmetics, get a whole bunch of their new stuff that I haven't tried over the past few years. Maybe I should, because I had so many favorites from that brand for so long, and now it's been too long. So that is just something that was on my mind. Okay, CoverGirl's another medium one for me. Every once in a while, they'll have some launches that I'm like, okay. And there's like some foundations from them I like, some concealers, things like that. But like eyeshadow-wise, CoverGirl, mascaras, there are some that I like, but they're just one of those brands for me that I just kind of feel, you know what? I take back what I just said because I forgot this was CoverGirl and this is a really good palette. It's the Desert Heat, so I take that back. Some brands that I think are like, Neutrogena, Almay, Revlon. And Revlon, man, like they make some good products. Obviously, there are some freaking standbys that I love. But as I look through my collection nowadays, there's not a lot of Revlon in there. There's just not. And it's not for a lack of trying. I've tried a lot. It's just that gets decluttered. I just don't feel like there is a lot that they do so well that it keeps me coming back for more or keeps me excited for new launches. And I don't know why that is. Like, what is it about Revlon compared to Maybelline and L'Oreal and all the others? I feel like they keep missing the mark. So like they did this whole So Fierce line and all these things that were actually like some pretty good products, but it felt like they were trying to get to a younger generation, but they missed the mark. Like it wasn't quite what the younger generation is into. So it felt like, I don't know. I just feel like they need to hire someone else. But Neutrogena and Almay, their color ranges are awful, like shade ranges. From what I can see, especially Almay, they don't launch a lot of new, which I don't think is totally necessary, but you know, you still want to be launching new products. So they may have a couple of good products here and there, and I do think they do, but they're definitely a brand that I'm still kind of amazed that they still exist in real person drugstores. Do you know what I mean? Like, how much are they selling that they can still... Neutrogena, of course, has tons of other stuff. They have the skincare, so I can see why Neutrogena, but Almay especially, I'm like, how are they still, no offense, but like, how are they still existing? Like, how much are they really selling in a day to like make it worth it? That's it. I feel like I'm forgetting a couple of brands. I mean, listen, there's 10,000 drugstore brands. I can't hit them all, y'all. But it's just kind of fun to talk about, you know. I hope I didn't offend any of you guys if you're like, hey, I love Almay. I'm not saying that everything from the brand is bad. That's not at all what I'm saying. It's just kind of fun to talk about like what's going on with each brand, as at least I am personally seeing it in 2022 right now. I would love to be able to rewatch this video in like 5 years and everything be different. Like, how fun would that be? And I'm sure there will be just like new brands around, because that's the reality. 5 years ago, I did not know what Makeup Revolution was, Catrice, I don't know, Kiko Milano maybe. But yeah, I hope this was fun. Just like a chatting about makeup video. If you want to see more videos like this, I'd have to have like an idea for the topic though. I wouldn't mind doing them. It's fun just to chat about. And yeah. That's all. I hope you'll subscribe if you did enjoy it. Like I said, check out Emily Noel's video. Check out Kelly Gooch's History of Brands videos, because they're so good. And I need to actually finish watching Emily's video now. Now I can. So love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.